So I am delighted to be asked to moderate this panel today to talk about the Boston Bootcamp, which CK Group and Cushman and Wakefield and others have sponsored for these guys and us to have an amazing trip to Boston, and these fantastic panellists who will have some great insights on what they've learnt while we were out there. I just wanted to take a couple of minutes to talk to you about the Boston Bootcamp and what it does. So the initiative runs as a competition where these guys applied, and that application process was judged by one nucleus and then some external sponsors, and then they, as a prize, they won the trip to Boston, where the aims of the programme were to fill some knowledge gaps from the UK for companies that were looking to kind of move into Boston or at least learn more about the Boston ecosystem, and kind of meet the people that one nucleus know out there, and the great workshop sessions that they got, which I'm sure they'll tell you throughout this panel were invaluable and useful for other sponsors, so, and I'm sure extremely useful for them as businesses. So I think we're going to talk over a few things today. So firstly, I'm just going to ask the panellists to introduce themselves, ask why they applied and what they hope to gain kind of before we went out to Boston, and then throughout the session we'll talk about what they did gain while we were out in Boston and their insights to share with all of you. So we'll go left to right. Left to right. Right to left. Jamie, you start.
Thanks, Natalie. Hi, everyone. So I'm Jamie Renison. I'm a partner at Cushman and Wakefield. We're one of the sponsors, along with CK and a few other service providers. And we think it's, I mean, the reason we're involved, we're a real estate provider, and it's a really valuable insight for the cohorts who won the place to get into the Boston Bootcamp. But it's invaluable for us as well to see how the Boston marketplace works. So the reason we sponsor this is, one, to support the One Nucleus ecosystem, which is doing a fabulous job in this country, and needs as much help as it can get, and two, for us to see how we can better it in the UK, because everyone regards Boston as the best place to do science. I think we shouldn't fear it. We should learn from it and celebrate what you've already got in this country and in other and in Cambridge particularly.
Perfect, John.
Okay, so yeah.
On behalf of Priya.
Yeah, so I kind of drew a bit of a short straw here. So yeah, I'm John Telfer, VP of Program Management at RNAvate, which is a circular RNA company, which, if you are strong enough, is a stone's throw in that direction in the Maya building. But yeah, thanks a lot for inviting me along. So Priya does send her apologies, but also she's hugely thankful for the opportunity that the On Helix guys and the sponsors provided to her. So I think one of the things she was looking to gain was actually get more of a sense of how the funding environment is in the US at the moment. I think we certainly have our challenges here, but I think in the US it's also mixed in with individuals in the politics there. We're in an RNA company, and I think RFK has very publicly said he's not a fan of RFK, so I think it'd be good to get an update on how that's going down in the investment community there. So yeah, it was a useful week.
Thanks, John. Jason?
So my name is Jason Yip. I'm the CEO and co-founder of a company called Tailor Bio. We're developing small molecule targeted therapies for cancers with chromosomal instability. We're based here in Cambridge. We're a really small team. There's actually 8 of us. So part of the reason that we initially applied to this was we just really wanted a trip to Boston. But aside from that, I think the idea of exploring the ecosystem there, understanding how the American ecosystem and environment works, was something that was really valuable to us, because we grew up as a company here in the UK, and it's pretty much all we've known. So it was a very different environment, and it was great for us to get that exposure.
Great. Hi, I'm Hannah Saw. I'm the CEO and one of the co-founders of PharmEnable Therapeutics. So PharmEnable, we're decoding basically what biology and what targets need to deliver innovative new medicines by mapping new areas of chemical space. Yeah, really, I love the honesty there. Yeah, we also, I think, a free trip as a startup, a free trip to Boston, where it's all happening, is a big draw. And I would say for me, it was also around investment and BD, because that's ultimately what is absolutely critical in the lifeblood of a startup. So
fabulous. I think, John, you touched on kind of learning about fundraising while you were out there, and I think it was clear to us while we were out there. And we were out there in April, so it was a very challenging time in April. And I think since some of you, and I know some of our colleagues, have gone to bio, and I think there was a little bit more positivity from then.
I would say that there was. I mean, I think that we would all probably understand there's a high amount of uncertainty geopolitically, but I would say personally my takeaway was April was extremely low, with a significant amount of uncertainty day to day on tariffs. Now it seems like the tariff issue is over and now it's Iran war, but
so it's a glass half full kind of girl.
Yeah.
It was quite difficult and tough when we were out there, and yeah, just for us to talk about that. And I guess since then, we've been back a little while, what we learnt then, how we've been able to put that into action since we've been back, and where the market lies now, and what our key takeaways were from what we learnt while we were out there in reference to getting funding from US investors for UK companies.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, Priya lists her 3 Ds, which I can read out here. So differentiation, so what makes you different from other companies and other players in the sector, and then the data, so what data do you have to actually support that you're differentiated, and also that you have a proof of concept or proof of principle that is investable, and then the final, probably most important one is the number of dollars that you're asking for. And then did she also layered in the strategic fit, so how well you align with what the investors are looking for, and she felt that what we will see kind of moving into a space where actually more scientifically challenging diseases will not see investment because they're seen as high risk, and we'll also see investment shifting more to focus on companies where they are in the clinical ready, rather than the early stage innovators. So I think for a company like RNAvate, which is not in the clinic yet, I think that the in vitro and in vivo data package that we can generate will be very significant in looking for funding over the coming year.
So from my perspective, I thought you always think the grass is greener on the other side. So I think the thing that was a key takeaway for me is that it's really tough actually everywhere. So one of the things that was very clear, they're very, very proud of themselves in Boston. Very proud. We heard multiple times how proud they are. And they have 18, I can reel off the stats because I heard it so many times. They have 18 of the top 20 big pharma there, and the amount of investment that's gone in. So it's huge. And they were still saying it is the worst and it's the deepest that they have ever seen. And I think that was the thing that was quite interesting for me. But I would say that there is hope. So what I think became very clear is the differentiation